hindsight,
So you're talking.
I almost prefer to have them where you've got them now because, you know, kids get excited, traffic, outer
Right.
perimeter, you know.
Especially if
somebody
you're on
get
the
away.
highway side. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
So
pros
it's
and
probably
cons to
better to have
both.
them around closer to the courthouse
Yeah.
anyway, just.
And I like it in the corner where the library, like the library's already talking about when they have their, little kids story reading hour, they're gonna bring kids over to the courthouse lawn and, you know, do activities over here. So I like that it would try to stay as close to the library as possible. And there's more shade and there's less traffic, I mean, well, you guys don't have traffic from the jail anymore, right? It's all Zoom.
No, they can.
They do
They
still
still,
count, okay.
yeah.
So I mean, there's that too, if you're gonna
So
have
how
a lot.
far off of the sidewalk?
I think it was maybe 3 feet from the path in Austin.
And I have a question, that's
Maybe
why my
2
question is
yeah.
because if these get used a lot, and hopefully they do, you're gonna have people that are gonna step off the sidewalk into the grass, and then we're gonna have a dirt, you know, we could possibly have some, you know, then.
But we can make it, I mean, like, where you're standing on the sidewalk and you can see it, it's gonna be pretty, I don't know how to explain it, I should, show you a picture, if I have reception in here, but, it's in this piece of paper.
I saw it.
So you can kinda
I
see.
saw it.
So I mean, it doesn't have to be like 3 feet, and I'm bad with distance, it might be like a foot, and I'm thinking 3, no, I don't know, but it's right off the path, so if we wanted to have it right next to
The sign
the
itself.
The sign.
So the sign probably extends out from the pole a little bit.
Yeah, so the sign is like that big, and the pole itself, I think, was about 3 feet off the ground.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can talk about the installation part of it, I mean, as far as away from the sidewalk, I'd rather somebody be standing on the sidewalk reading the thing than step in the grass and.
I would too.
You know.
Long as
Yeah, we
the
can have it
sign
like
doesn't-
right next to,
As long as the sign doesn't impede the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, I don't, yeah,
and we could do a walkthrough, like Jason, that's what we did in Austin, like we just kinda walked through, he put flags in, contacted the dig people, and, then he knew when he came back exactly where to install everything.
Yeah.
okay. Again, I'd like to see him put in, and again, I was hoping that we'd have the other project, done, but doesn't seem like, the first bid we had,
Was way
Okay.
too high.
no, I mean, the first bid we had that went to council,
Oh, yeah.
they didn't even, the council wouldn't, they wanted something else, and so then it went, back, and we drew a different scope of work, and then that bid came in at outrageous price, so we're gonna look at something different, so, but I think our goal is still to have that as sidewalk on the inside, so.
And I can ask Jason, I mean, as far as like digging up things, how that works, you know, getting the concrete off, I don't know. Like if you did eventually have sidewalks and we decided like it'll be better there,
Well,
Did you say they're aluminum poles?
like powder coated aluminum, I think.
Okay.
we can talk about that when we get to that point, cause I think aesthetically, I think they would be better on the sidewalks around the outside, and it, you know, you'd be able to probably have a better flow of people on that outside, but again, like I said, I think the project's here, and we're not ready for it on the other side, so we'll have to deal with it however we have to, so.
So just go ahead, move forward with the proposed location, and you guys just wanna meet and kinda walk it out with Jason and figure out
Yeah.
Yeah, I
placement and
think so.
everything.
Yeah, I'd like for him to put the flags down and us be there and be able to see, you know, where they're going, so.
I'll get the summer reading program from the library, they're gonna give me all the information on Friday. Once I get that, I can send it to the printer, it probably takes like a week or two. Jason already has everything sitting in his garage, so he's, you know, as long as it works with his schedule, he can get going. So ideally, if we can do this, you know, sometime in June and I've got a plan for like the opening reception, we had a lot of people, like the mayor and everybody came to the one in Austin, so it'd be nice to have, you know, you guys there and do like a big kickoff, so I wanna have time to plan all that and advertise.
Yeah, I don't see any reason you couldn't do it.
No, I don't either. So, have you put the flags out, and we can see where we're at, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right,
Thank
thank you,
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Denise, no,
No?
and thank you for reaching out to, oops, sorry, I was, reaching out to that gentleman the other day.
I think I have.
So when I started back in 2020, our first GDX came out saying that this county had 1,628 veterans, and we brought in $13.7 million into benefits. 2021, we dropped veteran population to 1,600 and brought our veteran benefits up to 15.9. 2022 GDX came down, our veteran population dropped again, but we raised our benefits to 18.35 million. So right now, and that does not include survivor benefits, and it doesn't include all of the veterans I take care of outside of Scott County. So that's just into Scott County.
So are we thinking people are moving, people are passing away?
Passing away.
So it's the older vets?
It's the older veterans that we're losing, yes, sir.
Okay.
But I'm starting to see a lot of the younger veterans start coming into the office. So these are the ones that VA and Department of Defense have visibility on. So they've registered and they have a V for veteran on their driver's license, or they've registered for benefits. These are not including the veterans I don't know about. So I'm starting to get those kind of trickling in. But, so we raised it between 2021 and 2022 we raised it 2.5 mil. So we're getting some good benefits into our veterans.
That's awesome, thank you.
The other thing is the office closures. So at the end of this month and the first week in June, the 29th is Memorial Day, so the office will be closed. I will be in conference in Indianapolis from the 30th all the way through the 1st, and then I'm going to Washington, D.C. for a week. So
Sorry.
my nephew's graduating, so, and my husband's never been to D.C. So
Oh, it's fine.
it's an interesting place to say the least.
Just don't get off the beaten path.
I won't. I've been there.
Say hi to Uncle Jerry.
No. The other thing I want to kind of put out there and make it known, and especially since this is public, is this county has 62 cemeteries in it. You as the commissioners support the veterans kind of services, the VFW and the American Legion in placing grave marker American flags on every single grave of a veteran in Scott County. We are having issues trying to cover all of those. So I've linked up with the VFW. They are meeting volunteers on Saturday, the 27th of May at 10 a.m. Everybody's gonna meet there and they'll get their kind of assignments.
27th or 2nd?
27th of May,
What time?
10 a.m.
So have you reached out to the young
Already have,
Marines?
yes, sir. That's already on board, and I've already reached out to some of my other veterans that have shown interest. So, I don't know, because historically, the American Legion's ordered the flags, we reimbursed them from that. I don't know with all of the changes of the Guard, if we wanna look at that down the road, if we wanna kind of maneuver that closer into the county context, because it is y'all's money that's going after these flags. That's just something to mull over. It's not that those organizations are not doing a good job, because they're doing a fabulous job, but they're getting older. And you're having the same people year after year after year do it. So we need to get those newer people in and those younger folks in to
I'm
do it.
placing flags, so you're saying you're going to 62, or possibility of going to 62 cemeteries?
Yes, 62 cemeteries will be covered by individual veterans and groups
Okay.
that will have flags on them.
Yeah, I
Where are you
agree with
meeting
that.
at?
10 o'clock at the VFW on Austin off 31, and then their phone number, if you have any questions, is 812-794-3511.
Yeah.
The other thing is that our DAB van transport is in operation. I have a driver that's willing to drive. So I only have one, but I do have 2 applications in for other drivers. The more the better. And that transport number is 812-786-4775.
4775?
Yes, sir, and that is the cell phone that's been designed for that, or they can stop in the office. I do only have one driver, so anybody that wants rides, please give me the notice so I can try to coordinate that for them. The other thing that is kind of, it's kind of twofold. So their wall that heals, and it's basically the Traveling Vietnam War Memorial Wall with the museum, is coming to Jackson County Fairgrounds the 10th through the 13th of August. So there is no fee to attend. It's open 24 hours, and they do have a traveling museum that goes with it.
The Jackson County Fairgrounds?
Yes, sir, Jackson County Fairgrounds.
You said the dates were the 10th through the 11th?
13th. So this wall is 375 feet long and 7.5 feet tall. It has every name that is on the actual Vietnam Memorial in DC. So here's the question I have to you guys. Do you want me to try to get the wall here in Scott County for 2024?
Sure.
It's gonna cause a lot of, we're gonna have a lot of work departments and that type of stuff. And then when would be interested? Because they're gonna open up the 2024 schedule on Memorial Day. So I'm gonna have to jump on, because I'm competing against every other city and state in the country. So if we could get it set and I could get it locked in, and if it's during school, then we can open it up to Scott County School District 1 and 2 and have that into their history stuff. Do we wanna try to get it near like Veterans Day? Or their biggest thing is it needs to be free. So we have to provide a site open to the public for 24 hours a day. We cannot charge admission for any visitors. And then we have to recruit, set up, and breakdown teams.
So are you able to put that inside, indoors?
No.
It has to be outdoors.
I would not, I mean, I don't know where in Scott County you would find for 375 feet in length.
I was thinking the mass park, so.
So the other thing that could be done is near the farmer's market over by the museum. That way we get traffic into the museum as well, because they do have a military room upstairs that not a lot of people know about. So I would not recommend it in like
So
fair.
I know you're wanting a date, but I mean, we're talking 2024.
Yes, sir.
I'd say lock in a date,
And then just plan around it.
and then we can plan around it where we're gonna put it, cause I'd rather put it someplace where people, if they're in wheelchairs or whatever, can
That's why I
still
was-
be able to make the,
Yeah, and then there you've got uneven
you
ground.
said 300 and how much?
375 feet long and 7.5 feet tall.
I was kinda curious, maybe
What's that?
the health department parking lot.
That'd be enough.
That might be. And then,
And a smooth surface, everybody can
And there's lighting
safely
out
get
there.
around and.
so that might be
There's
a
lighting out there.
very, so just to kind of keep in your mind, kind of batting around some ideas. Like I said, we wouldn't want it to be in a high traffic area where, you know, we still want it to have this still significance behind it. So I would not suggest it be, you know, out at the fairgrounds in the middle of the fair. That's just me specifically, but, you know, I will do whatever.
Standalone.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, I'd have to measure that we could do it possibly, you know, here on all the sidewalks. And we could utilize the other veterans memorial at the same time, so if people's traveling, they could be able to see both.
How is it?
Here's the thing, is the way it's paneled out, that we can't separate the wall. It's all paneled to where it will be, it's basically in a, and I can give this to you too, it's basically in that chevron shape. So we gotta kind of be aware of how it's kind of set
That's
up.
where yeah. Do you have something you can send that, so what it looks like?
So it's not a big, huge picture, but that kind of is their requirements. I can get some more information off of their website and get it to you, and email it to you. No, but it's, I've watched a lot of videos and that type of stuff, and it's called The Wall That Heals. So it's a really good opportunity, and we'll go from there. But I will work on getting that for us.
Yeah, pick a date and we'll find a spot.
Okay. Any
And
other?
I prefer it to be, me personally, I prefer it to, like you said, while school's still in session. And if we do it somewhere, and I'm not taking Scottsburg over Austin or anything else, but if we do it somewhere where, schools can actually, cause a lot of the elementary schools, grade schools will walk. And if it's close enough, they'll walk their kids, cause otherwise, every time they have to put them on a bus, they only get one field trip, and it has to be on a bus. If they walk, they can have 2 or 3, so anyway, we'll look at that. Find a date and we'll find a place.
Any other questions, comments, concerns with me?
No, I think they're doing an excellent job, and thank you for yourself.
Thank you, I appreciate it. We got some amazing veterans here.
Enjoy Washington.
I'll enjoy my family.
Again,
Yes, I'll enjoy my family.
again, a block,
Thanks,
a
Denise.
block away from 16th Avenue, or Pennsylvania Avenue, stay away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I wanna talk to you or not, come on.
Okay, so, first thing, I'm gonna, here in the next 30 to 45 days, be trying to get some building materials in. Just wanna see if there's a way, maybe I could use a bay at the John Jones building, short-term storage.
Yep.
Okay, just one bay, we can get it all in there, hopefully it'll be gone.
Would you mind calling, the young Marines and just
Yeah, I can do that.
let them know that you'll be putting it in there and talk to them that, you know, climb next year, you know, don't.
I think last time I was in there, we could probably go on the west wall or something, it looks like they're mostly on the east side,
Yeah,
but yeah, I can do that, we can work around it.
I mean, of course, use it, but
Yeah, cool, yeah, we can do that. The next thing is, I'm gonna apply for a grant for railroad crossing. I was approached I think the county's went through it before, it's the markings, the paint and stuff that the county's responsible for. Sounds like it's gonna be 100% funded, it's just the fact of us, you know, putting in for it, so. If it ends up not being a good thing, then I'll come back to you, but right now it looks like it'll be okay.
okay, thank you.
I think the last time, when the railroad shut down Fairgrounds Crossing, and when they put it back up, we had to put all the signage and stuff up.
This consultant will go around, check to make sure everything's up to snuff, I guess. And, send prices to get it all, right? So. The next thing was the semi I seen was on there, so, I think we
Sent
found.
you a resolution with the,
Did you send it?
yep.
But I think we found a semi at Thomas that probably be adequate, and, as long as it's still there, we'll just kind of play that by ear.
Come back with it. Actually, I know Randy was doing the same time I was, but I'd sent, you know, them a message, hey, what do you want for it, and then, I think he got a hold of somebody and found out the prices and stuff, so.
Do we need to go ahead and pass that,
Well,
our decision for him to move to council with it?
Yep. Cause we have not done anything, to my knowledge, as to that specific request, but Kevin has provided me basically what he did to ensure that the pricing was fair and reasonable. And I think that based on what I looked at, this was the lowest possible price that we could hope for a comparable vehicle at that particular mileage. It is a limited time option, basically, is my understanding. So what you could do is pass a resolution approving, or authorizing, the purchase of the equipment, and ask that we, do an advertisement for an appropriation of an amount not to exceed, I think it's $30,000, if that's, if I remember that correctly.
Well, originally, I think you asked for 35.
At the original meeting, but I guess the truck at Thomas is gonna be around the 30 mark.
I'm just wondering if we shouldn't do it at 35 and then
not to
come in,
exceed 30.
not to
I can
exceed
do, I
35.
can do it not to exceed 35 is
That'll be
fine.
fine.
Still falls under all the thresholds, you know, we've done everything we can to make sure it's the lowest price possible. And again, none of the kind of more formulaic procedures are required because of the total price. Council will do their advertising, and I guess it could be set for their next meeting, which will be the first meeting in.
June will be the first one that we can have it advertised for.
That's their meeting anyway.
They've got a special meeting for the mowing equipment, the bid's the 30th, but I can't
Yeah, you
get the advertisement
won't
done.
match up.
I think I can.
Do you have a resolution or
Yes.
a resolution on it?
Are these all single page?
No, they're all.
Oh,
We have the resolution number,
It'll be 12.
12.
Mhm.
All right, I'll read the resolution number 2023-R-12. Whereas pursuant to IC 522-22, 5-22-2-13, the Scott County is a governmental body, and under IC 36-2-2-2, the Board of Commissioners is the county executive for Scott County. Whereas the Scott County government has received certain distributions pursuant to American Rescue Plan Act, and the county has received a total of $4,630,000 in two separate tranches.
Do what?
Yes.
Trenches, yes. There were two trenches. The
There's
first
gonna
one's
be
2.3 million.
Yeah. Whereas the Scott County Board of Commissioners has previously determined to utilize,
Yeah, tranche. Sorry.
say that's a word I don't think I've seen that one. I'm old. Utilize its allocations of ARPA monies in accordance with 603C in the U.S. Treasury guidance as amended under the IRS final rule for replacement of lost public sector revenue up to a standard allowance of $10 million in an aggregate not exceeding the award amount of $4.63 million. Whereas the Scott County Board of Commissioners approved uses for ARPA monies, which included special projects for the improvement of the county government operations and benefit to the general public. Whereas the Scott County Highway Department, after authorization from the Board of Commissioners, has reviewed the pricing for at least 3 persons known to deal with the class semi-tractor trailers at comparable mileage, and specifications were provided by the Scott County Highway Department. Whereas the pricing for the semi-trailers, tractor trailers, after being reviewed by the department head, was submitted on May 17, 2023 at the Board of Commissioners public meeting, and after due consideration, the Board of Commissioners determines to approve the use of the ARPA money for the purchase of certain equipment at the lowest price available. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana, the prices were for number one, the prices were for semi-tractors necessary for performance of the Scott County's Highway Department duties, and the purchases for the provision of governmental services. Number two, the purchase method has ensured that the price is fair and reasonable based upon research, experience, and purchasing history. Number three, the contractor that provided the pricing information for semi-tractors and comparable mileage are responsible and possess the ability to perform under solicitation. Number four, the Board of Commissioners resolved to approve the use of the amount not to exceed $35,000 of the ARPA monies for the purchase of the semi-tractor and contingent upon appropriations by council. Number five, the resolution is effectively upon the passage, signing, and recording of the presiding officer of the respective executive and fiscal bodies of the county. So we will, on this form here said 30, but we've changed it
We've
to
got it.
35.
Signed
Yes,
copy.
there's a
Okay.
signed copy right there.
All
that you'll need to-
So anyway, do I hear a motion to pass resolution 2023-R-12?
I'll make a motion to pass that resolution.
Randy makes a motion to pass the resolution. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. On this day. May the 17th, this is,
Sorry, Ben.
oh, you're there. Too much paperwork. So there were 3 yeas and 0 nays. so be it. What else you got?
Alright, so the next thing is I'm just gonna run you through a PowerPoint of, basically what I'm gonna present to the council, to kind of show them some numbers and, that I look at daily and, some directions I think maybe we gotta try to move budget-wise and, work type-wise. So this is the pavement asset management plan of 2022, that's our most recent. This is required by our county for any kind of funding, grant funding or anything, so. We work off a Pacer scale that goes 1 through 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. This is only good as the data that's put in. I believe it to be close right now. I think next year I plan on doing some adjusting so those numbers may flux, but you can kind of see right now our average Pacer scale is 6.5. Like I said, it goes from 1 to 10. So that kind of gives you an idea to the county on where you're standing. It breaks it down, the fair conditions 258, poor conditions is 9, and in good condition is 43 miles. Great, you flip the next one. This is just the roughly what I'm looking at on the Pacer scale. So if you look down at the 6, since that's about where the majority of our mileage falls right now. So some recommendations on preservation in the thing, show some signs of aging, sound structural condition. Meaning there isn't any large wheel ruts, potholes. If there is, those areas can be fixed. It doesn't mean one bad section makes the whole road bad. You can fix those areas. Could extend the life of the seal coat. Flip the next one. So, what the Pacer book that I judge everything off of, this is just a page out of it. And, roads are in sound structural condition, but show definite signs of aging. Seal coating could extend their useful life. There may show slight surface rattling, transverse cracks, can be frequent, less than 10 foot apart. Slight surface rattling with tight cracks less than 10 feet apart, and transfer cracks less than 10 foot apart, cracks well sealed. So anyway, this is what I judge on what it's kind of puts everybody on the same page, so to speak. So this all comes from roadresource.com. I set through like a 3-day course they had. Their calculators, it was actually, I believe, 200 cities and counties and a couple of Mexico and some other countries. So their calculators are good because they actually figure out for inflation through the years that you're figuring. So they're, obviously the numbers are all different through the country, but it's still a realistic number. So this one just kind of breaks down. If the county was to look at, 5% of their total road mileage in preservation a year in that program. So, one conventional approach would be a thin left of HMA. The other preservation approach would be chip seal. This kind of breaks it down to 15% of our full counties would be 158,000 square yards of asphalt. That's 15%. So the difference in thin left HMA and the difference in chip seal, 777,744. If you was going to compare thin left HMA to chip seal, 15% of the count, which I think, would be where we need to split our numbers is 15-20%, new construction to preservation. Flip the next one. This just kind of breaks down what a thin left HMA conventional side of things are. That just shows the 1,104,000 if you was to do 15% of the county a year, and that was going to be your preservation technique was their definition of a thin left HMA is 3/4 inch to an inch. I find that not to be a good method, in my opinion. Adds 8 to 10 years of, performance. And our roads are a 6.5 average, so a lot of them are right on the borderline on whether they would even be qualified for a thin lift HMA. You can flip to the next one. Chip seal is one of the most common preservations used by counties and state. So the comparison for the 15% was, roughly 326,000.
So third.
Now, the life extends, if you look on there, 5 to 7 years, and that all depends on, obviously weather, snow, freezing, thawing. But if you flip to the next one, crack seal kind of goes in conjunction with chip seal. So if you use them both in conjunction, you get 3 to 5 years, pavement life with that. So we could possibly bump up chip seal to a 10-year life with using both of those products. So they kind of go hand in hand.
So with, can you chip seal over chip seal?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's not that once you do it, you have to,
No, it's common practice. I mean, the rule of thumb that I was always told is no more than 3, but I've definitely seen way over 3. But, I think that all depends on what road you're working on.
you're talking about
3 layers.
Or 3 layers.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the road you're working on, the weight that's on that road, maybe.
But you're talking, if you're talking 3 applications, and if the application is 3 to 5 years or 5 to 7 years, so we're talking,
Yeah,
30 years down
if
the
you flip to the
road.
next page, we'll break one down like that. So this is just saying the cost savings for a 30 years on 1 mile, so 10,560 square yards. That's about the average of a Scott County mile. Our roads are average around 18 feet, so that's about our average. So if you took the conventional approach, and this is to keep your roads between a 6 and a 10, that's optimal condition.
That's what Blacktop.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna compare this to, we can't keep stacking 2 inches on top of 2 inches, so if we just take this 1 mile and we look on the conventional side, in year 2023, a major mill and fill. You just kind of see the price that breaks it down. Year 34, you do an ultra thin lift HMA. Year 45, you're a minor mill and fill. Year 56, you're ultra thin or ultra thin lift HMA again. You can kind of see the square yardage price that it would cost you in the total life cycle in that. And then you can go over to the preservation side of things and go year 23 to year 54. And utilizing that, and you can kind of see the cost difference. So in that 1 mile in 30 years, it's $765,000 difference. Now that's keeping, I like to keep everybody in mind, that's keeping your road hopefully between a 6 and a 10, which is what we all like to drive on. As we know, we have roads now that's not that, and we're on that Pacer scale of 6, 6.5, 134 miles. It don't take long to go from a 6 to a 4. And I got at the end of the site. You're welcome to get on this website because it's really good. You can break it down on the asphalt's lifeline, like the certain years it goes down, like maybe you'll lose 30% of this life, then you'll lose 40% of this life, and 75, and it'll break it down year to year on what you can plan on. So that just kind of breaks that down.
So there's no percentage of patching or anything?
No, that's not, that's just basic. You got a road that's a 6 or a 7, and you're trying to keep it at a 6 to a 10, and this would just be a plan for a 30 years for that 1 mile. It's just kind of to show you the difference in the price range. Obviously, that there's a good chance there's going to be wheel ready that you would have to repair that would add costs and so on both ends. Flip to the next one. So we got 311 miles. On 30 years of maintenance on preservation planning, keeping roads between that 6 and the 10, or possibly even down to the 5 to the 10. you're looking at $238,797,398 difference. And that's full retail HMA compared to preservation end of things. So there's a reason you see the state highway chip seal in US 421 and US 31. There's a reason. And that's it. So this next-
311 miles.
that's what we have in the county, yeah. So, one thing I've been working on, and this is just for the council to get what I'm looking at, that's under the ground. The county has 204 small structures between 6 and 16 feet, I believe, I'm sorry, 4 and 16 feet. None of these as of right now, or at least if they are, I don't know about it, are accounted for. And a lot of these structures, I'm gonna guess, was put in maybe when the road was all gravel. I think we're kind of getting to that age that, you know, some of them have old footers underneath them, I've noticed. So I kind of went through, I've already looked at these bridges, I knew where they was at, or not bridges, small structures, they're under a bridge. So, one example is District 1. You can kind of see the wear and tear on some of these small structures. You know, that could easily be a $100,000 replacement structure. I'll flip to the next one. You know, this is District 3. This bridge or small structure is, you know, it's in need of repair. You know, it's another one that's a $100,000 replacement, or very well could be. You know, it has a crack to the footer, the aging on the side of the road, let all the guardrail loose. You know, it's things that need addressed. And in District 2, same way. You know, we had small structures out there. This particular one's, you know, a pretty good size. And these are just purely guesstimated numbers, but they're probably not far off just by the judging on other things. That just kind of shows each district's got its problem. There's 204 you know, of them out there.
And some of those small structures could have damaged guardrail.
Fair, oh yes, yeah, it's very expensive. So that kind of breaks down to what I was saying. 210 small structures in the county, 4 to 16 feet. The county is currently contracted to start a small structure inspection and mapping starting in July of 23. This work will extend to the year 25. And at this time, the highway could possibly budget out to 20 years using this data for the replacement that could run 5 to 10 million. I can't narrow those numbers down till we get the engineering back to say, this is what you got, and this is what you're probably looking at needing to do. That's where I'm at on the cost saving solutions need to be addressed. All dollars will need to be stretched to the full retail HMA will not get the county there. You'll run out of money, and roads will be back to the 2 or 3 on a pacer scale. You know, ideal roads for all motor vehicles need to at least stay at 5. So by the time at full retail HMA, by the time that if you got optimal money, you got back around to the starting point, your roads are back down to in par condition. That's part of what we need to try to combat. We'll go next one. So there's 3,284,160 square yards of asphalt in the county based on road resource conventional HMA plan. You know, that could cost $306,346,000, $445 in a 30-year maintenance plan. And that is through road resource. So that's counting, you know, mill and fill, minor mill and fills, major mill and fills breakdown. A preservation plan could drive these costs down to $67,555,171. This is to keep the road in at least a pacer rating of 5 and above. So that's 311 miles, that's 5 and above. And I think we need to shoot to be better than that, but that's reality. And this is just kind of for council to talk to them. You know, please keep in mind, stacking 2 inches of asphalt on top of 2 inches of asphalt, bad asphalt over and over is not a plan. The road still, and I don't want anybody to think that we're taking away paving, because roads still have to be paved. There's still a lot of roads that'll have to be paved, they're beyond, you know, the need for preservation. We'll go to the next one here. Just a quick breakdown. So the highway department's working on their mapping through GIS. We're gonna try to use GIS to its fullest extent. So right now we're playing catch up. These are the 2022 crack sealing we done, which is a substantial amount of miles for this county, but it was just kind of the first year catch up. We're gonna do about 20 in 23. But these will all be mapped on GIS so we can do layers, and the goal will be get the crack sealing and chip seal to the future, so we'll know what we're gonna be doing in the future instead of the past. I think you guys have seen that. I actually might play unless it's a PDF. No, it's a distributor. It'll play on my computer, but it's just a distributor truck. I just done it for council to quickly kind of see what it looks like. The chipper behind it. I'm gonna go to the next one. Then we're just typically pneumatic rollers that's used for compaction. It's one of them that we have on bid to take to the council. It's something similar to that. Okay. Also, once again, I kind of done this for council. If anybody wants to get a look at the numbers and they're realistic, they can get on that right there and you can figure your heart out. That concludes the HMA. This is just gonna be for council and my idea of a mower versus their idea of a mower. I think it's pretty cut and clear. Right there, if you can see the footprint of that piece of equipment where it's sitting on the road related to the other piece of equipment, and that's my main goal is the Massey's are real good to do what it does, and that's chop big limbs up. The other machine is real good doing what it does. It does 3 to 4 inches limbs and it mows. My biggest thing about this purpose-built equipment, and it was just about all of them I ran across, plus the John Deere schools, is, you know, I went out today with, where Daryl was mowing, these pictures came from today, and, you know, every blind corner, every hill, he's sitting at least that far out in the road, if not farther. I kind of want him to look at the boom. If you'll look at the boom on the Massey and see where it's sitting compared to the tree line, and if you look at the purpose-built machine and see it goes up 45 and 22 and a half, probably back in the right direction, so it's not caught in the tree line. So a boom mower on the Massey is not a mower. Can it twist up grass and throw it out in the road? It can, and that's what it does. So that was the day they was demoing it. Salesman was in it at the time. That particular mower can mow in reverse and forward. I'm not sure why you want to, but it does have capability. Once again, this was just an example of where our tractor is sitting on a hillside on Oak Hill and Stagecoach Road. You know, compared to this tractor that's sitting on the right side of the road, and that was my biggest. As far as a boom tractor that has dual capability, that was my favorite thing about it. And once again, I think it's pretty simple to see. So, conclusion. There you go.
So you're saying you're meeting with them on Sunday?
On Sunday, I'm going to run them through this presentation here, and I'm also just going to run them to the lot with the equipment just for you know, so they can get a visual on what's really there, and I'm hoping to talk to council about in the future looking at giving the county highway some sort of equipment replacement cost, so we can plan, we can look ahead and see what equipment it's going to be back, because we all know we're going to have to replace it at some point, and kind of handle that in-house and bring it to the commissioners. And it isn't anything rare, it's what most counties do. Just try to get them on the same page to know what equipment that we're looking at that may need to be replaced in the next 5 years, maybe something that needs to be replaced in the next 10 years. But just have some sort of plan, because right now, or at least what I've seen in the past, is just kind of, you let everything run down to nothing and then
Start
you gotta go
Borrow.
borrow.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's it, unless you got any questions.
Good luck.
Okay.
Sunday at what time?
4:30, no, 4.
4 o'clock
4
Sunday? This Sunday.
This Sunday, right? Yeah.
This Sunday.
Dossett Consulting contracts,
Oh, Zach has those and,
let's move on.
yeah.
We'll come back. Air conditioning units for the juror's room and treasurer's office. I talked to Eric about that a little bit. He said that, one, the compressor went out of, the other one, something else
I think it was
happened to it.
Compressor and condenser, I think he said.
Yeah, something, he goes, but he's got, that's why there's two different prices for two different units, cause they're, but, I don't have those in front of me.
You know what, those were in an earlier email that I sent you.
Yeah, I saw it, I think one was like 6,500 and the other one was like
You
75
know
or
what, actually, I think I
72
have
or
those with me.
something.
I think I have that part with me. Yeah, I do. There was a $4,900 one that's been completed, and those are the two.
They need to we're gonna have to replace them, so. I thought he had a, did he not have a quote from the other?
For Miller? No, but Miller actually did the work on the server room for Andrew. And when I sent those out, I sent them to you and the council, not thinking. John had already seen those and he said he would not provide a quote due to the fact he'd already seen that. So,
Alright, for one, I guess in the juror's room, install new water source heat pump, it's $6,985, and it's, removing existing unit, install a new unit, reconnect existing electric ductwork, system startup and verification. The other one is for, the treasurer's office, install new water source heat pump, remove, same thing, remove it and replace it. One's, for $7,420 for the treasurer's office, and the other one's $6,985 for the juror's room, so. There it goes. What's your thoughts?
It's gotta be there.
It's gonna be fixed, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll entertain a motion to accept both these bids and send it to council.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept both these, air conditioners proposals. Both of these proposals to replace heat pumps, so Greg seconds that, I'll make it unanimous, so. We're back to you.
On.
it was the Dawson, I'm sorry, we skipped.
Oh, so I think, we had met last time, talked with,
Jeff
the
Kemper.
representative
Yeah.
from Dawson. I guess the only remaining issue is I think that, the other Maximus continues to do work for the county for the prosecutor's office.
Mhm.
And we wanna make sure that, that this scope of work, this contract is only in regards to the, I'm trying to remember the word they use for it, but it's the asset,
Yeah, it was,
Allocation.
capital allocation, plan, I believe, yeah.
and that we wanna make sure that Maximus continues service with, their work, through the prosecutor's office, so
Is that why that was signed by,
I think so.
okay.
So I just wanna give,
And I think I sent them to you earlier today. the two contracts, but the one he has there actually has your signature, Mike, so I think that maybe the one we had brought was for the courts, and I didn't realize the difference.
And I think they do work,
Two different
yeah,
contracts.
and I think the clerk's
And
office
the
already
clerk.
used Dossett.
The clerk uses DOS,
So,
so,
you know, each kind of elected official's making their own decisions. I think the goal here is to just, make sure that each elected official gets to be using the service that they wanna be using. It's same, similar rates, same pricing, basically. So I would just ask that, I have an opportunity to contact Maximus directly to make sure that they understand that this has nothing to do with, you know, the service performed, that, we want to continue to do business with them. We just wanna make sure that, this new contract is only in relation to the auditor's requirements for the asset allocation plan.
Sounds good. So, back to you, I mean, we gave you approval already for you to use Dossett, didn't we? Or did we?
I think we
I think we
tabled
tabled
it. I think we tabled it.
At the time, we tabled it for a different reason, because we weren't
Yeah.
necessarily certain.
Okay, so it's a standalone.
And I hate to say at the time, I
contract.
wasn't clear either.
So, I guess we could do it this way. Could you approve Mike to sign outside of a meeting after we receive confirmation from Dossett that it is just the asset allocation plan, and that, Maximus also receives a notification that we want to continue, the prosecutor's office wants to continue.
But, so if I remember what the contract read for Maximus, it said they needed 30 days. So I mean, we're gonna have another meeting within 30 days, so we can go ahead and tell you, vote to say you can use your Dossett.
Yeah.
That would give 30 days notice to Maximus, and then, you know.
I think it's 60 days
Was it 60?
for convenience.
Okay, so 60 days, so.
So Zach, will you be the one who tells them?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't need to send them a letter or anything? Okay.
So we can entertain a motion to accept a new contract with Dossett
Yep.
and give notice to Maximus.
Yes.
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to, go with Dossett in that contract and to allow Mike to sign outside of a meeting.
okay, so Randy makes a motion to allow the auditor's office
Auditor's office.
to use Dossett and to, allow me to sign outside of a regular meeting, so Greg seconds that, and I'll make it unanimous, so.
Cost allocation plan, I'm sorry, not asset allocation.
Next on the agenda is Marty Randall, full-time position. I know that, we have received a verbal, notice stating that Marty was going to retire at the end of the year, so I know we brought it up at the last meeting about hiring someone, early on, you know, probably August, September, towards, so that that person's in place and Marty can train them, so that they're up to speed by the end of the year. Cause I'm on the area plan, I know a lot of what she does and you guys probably do, cause you have done some contract work and stuff, but it's not gonna be a position that's easily filled. It's not going to be something that somebody off the street with no knowledge of permits or anything can just walk in and say, I'm gonna take it over. It's,
No,
you have to have some smarts. And, I don't mean that disrespectful, but I mean, it's just, it is you know, somebody thinks it's, oh, here's paperwork. Well, it's not just paperwork. There's a lot to do with it. So I know, we talked about it, about making that new position a full-time position because of the increased volume of permits and stuff.
well, and also, currently Marty, she puts in more hours than what she even claims.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
So I think what we're gonna have to do is probably, reach out to our HR experts and get some sort of job description, maybe, change the job description critique it a little bit, and then send it to council, so that council can approve the, whatever the extra hours and the money and benefits that goes with that, so. So, Greg, you got any comment on that, or? Randy, you got any additional comment?
No, we need to make a motion to move forward with human resources, go ahead and pull that job description and start tweaking that.
Can we reach out to Baker, or not Baker,
Addie
to
Ricker there at Wagner's.
Wagner, Schuler? Can we reach out to them and ask them for a job description for an area plan person? So that we can see what it is, and then we'll have to get it together and then send it to council as recommendations on some money and see if they'll approve it or not, so.
Just so everybody knows, we talk about, the justification of that being full-time is because the hours, we talked about that, and then because there could be some additional duties that we've talked about. So I think it's good that we get them to write that out and show some justification for that. And-
Well,
And it's needed, so.
well, actually, what I think Greg's alluding to is that we've talked as commissioners about enforcing our ordinance, some ordinances that are already on the books that people have just, we haven't pushed the issue unless it's something to do with, that the health department can step in and do, but we need to reach out and look at our ordinances that we already have on the books and to enforce those. I mean, as far as, people having a junkyard on their property that they don't have a classification for a junkyard. People having trash or stuff that, devalues their neighbor's property. I mean, and that's a fine line of telling somebody that owns the property that you need to clean your property up, or it needs to be to this level of satisfaction. But we have ordinance already on the books. I think we need to clean those ordinances up, come into the, 2023 and with some new guidelines of, we'll let you do 99% of what you need to do on your property, but the other 1% needs to be presentable, so, and with that takes a person that's gonna have to, and we've done it in the Board of Commissioners. I mean, we've done it 3 times last year. We just need to make sure that we have some backbone and the law, and our ordinances are, up to date, so that we can continue to protect other property owners out there of some of the properties that aren't being maintained, so. All right, moving on to cell phone policy. We talked about this before. I think one thing we need to do is probably, didn't we talk about that? Changing the handbook to say that if a
Yes,
department head wants to.
Jennifer, I sent you a copy of the ordinance that we had looked at previously,
Okay.
or the proposed ordinance.
Well, what it is, we kind of pushed it back to, and I know some people were upset about this, but what it actually was the State Board of Accounts came in and told us that we had to have a countywide cell phone policy if we were going to pay people for, a stipend for for a phone. So we have done that. I mean, we are gonna, didn't we already pass that?
So we did not pass it. I submitted it to you guys at a meeting,
Okay.
and we looked at it, and I think you guys were, receptive to what was in there. We just, I did make one change wherein after they submitted, each department head or elected official that wanted, after they submitted in writing, their proposal for each position within their department that would have a cell phone stipend and the basis, like why. If you all approved it in whole or in part, then we would submit that to the council for appropriations. That's the only other piece.
And I think I think actually part of that was that we were waiting for budget time for people that wanted to budget there, and I think most of it was budgeted anyway. It's just the main reason any of this ever came up was the State Board of Accounts said you can't do what we were doing and told us to clean our act up, so we're cleaning our act up, so. Did you go get that ordinance?
Yeah, she's gonna get that one.
When we have the ordinance, we'll pass it, so let's move on, so while we're waiting to rebid the Sasco contract. I reached out to, our current, contractor, and I'm supposed to have a conversation with him tomorrow, so see.
Oh, real quick, the ordinance will need to be submitted to county council for approval, cause it's essentially changing, like adding a section to the employee handbook,
Yeah,
so.
that's fine, once we pass it, we'll go on. But anyway, I have reached out to him to talk about if he wants to continue like he is, or we're gonna change it, or I'll have some more information on that at the next meeting, but we are going to, either renegotiate his, change his, or depending on his that conversation, whether it goes to, out to bids, so. And actually probably depend on the cost of the contract, it would have to.
So actually, there's a group that has helped us, and indicated that they would help us.
Sears.
Yes,
Yes,
basically do. all
He's
of
supposed
this.
to, once we decide.
Yeah.
What's his ordinance number?
4.
Alright.
Do we have, did you ever find a contract?
Yeah.
Yes, I emailed those to you today, and I have
Okay.
paper copies, if you want me, I'll make you a copy. I emailed those today. You guys-
From what I
I'm
looked
sorry.
at, it was, that contract was 2011 is the last time it was written, and it's just not
Okay,
an
cause I
accurate
couldn't remember if it's 08 or 11, yeah,
I think
it was quite a while
11.
back, yeah.
But it was at $2,000 a month, and this is on the recycle side. This is the outside, 30 outside sites, and it was $2,000 a month, for him to maintain those 3 sites, for the recycle, which I think we're gonna have a different plan about the recycle, so, cause that was the biggest part of of his contract was the recycle side, so, but anyway. Alright, going back to the cell phone, I'll read an ordinance here that we're going to pass and send it to the council for their consideration to update the employee handbook on cell phones. Ordinance number 2023-OR-4, ordinance amending the Scott County Employee Handbook and establishing a cell phone stipend policy for employees of Scott County, whereas pursuant to IC code 5-22-2-13, the Scott County is a governmental body, and under IC code 36-2-2-2, the Board of Commissioners is the county executive for the Scott County, and pursuant to IC code 36-2-3-2, the county council is the county fiscal body for the county, Scott County. Whereas the Board of Commissioners and the Scott County Council desires to adopt the following additional policies for the employees of Scott County. Whereas the policy described below does not repeal the existing Scott County handbook, and instead the amends, adds, or an additional policy that is specific to cell phone stipends. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Commissioners of Scott County and the Scott County Council, each department head, including elected officials, may present Scott County Commissioners with a proposed cell phone stipend request. The request shall be in writing, define the employment positions within the department requesting the cell phone stipend. The written request shall be also a statement indicating the necessity of the cell phone stipend for each employment position contained within the request. Each cell phone stipend shall be amount of $50 per pay period. If the Board of Commissioners approves a cell phone stipend in whole or in part, the approved stipend shall be submitted to the county council for appropriation request. This ordinance is in effect upon passage, signed, and recorded in the presiding officer of the respective executive and fiscal bodies. Got a question? Is that not, you said per pay period?
That's the only thing I didn't really know, is
It's
it
per month,
per month?
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so 25 per pay period,
yeah,
right?
yes,
Actually,
or can we just
We've
say,
got
Or just say per month?
yeah, that might be because you got 26 pay periods.
yeah, I'd say per month. That's,
Then you can approve with that change. I just remove the back language and I'll fix it.
that's fine. Any discussion? Randy, Greg?
No, sound good to me.
Yeah, most departments already have that budgeted, so.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this ordinance number 2023-OR-4 with the change to say $50 per month, not per pay period.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept the ordinance, Greg.
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Since we have one that's got, right,
I am sending that right now.
alright. Alright, rebid property and liability insurance. What's,
We might have to table that right now, but, I mean, it's up to you guys, but, of course, but, one of the things that we're waiting on is a 5-year loss run report that we have yet to be able to obtain from our current insurance provider.
you're asking for what now?
A 5-year run loss report.
So you're asking for, claims,
Yeah, 5-year loss run
like
report.
what we've had claims
Yeah,
on
what
our
accidents have happened in the last 5 years.
property damage or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Have they,
I requested it, I talked to Richie, requested it, and I haven't heard back.
okay,
What day was that?
It's one day last week early.
12th, okay.
so the request has been asked,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
For over-
Alright, let's, we'll table that till next month.
Thank you.
Alright, transfer station update. Talk about that a little bit, or?
From that standpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, we had to, resubmit a revised, permit on some things from last year that came in late. Well, that came in prior to us coming into office, and so, there were still some outlier type questions that they wanted, cleaned up, so we've been working with IDM to satisfy, some of those, requests that they had from us, and, so we've been in contact with them, and, we actually, turned in our new operations plan with new, emergency plan out there, so, all I've heard back from them was thanks for the report, so I assume that they're probably still reviewing that. They're actually, going to come out next month, and, some of their team with IDM and just, do a walkthrough and, basically, take a look at what the operations are and then help us and give us some guidelines and recommendations on just how to be compliant and that way we're satisfying IDM and those requirements that they have, so, those were some of the things that were kind of left over, from the prior, folks before election, and now we're picked that up and got that cleaned up, and they understand that. You know, they see that a lot, and when elections, new people come in, I know on the local side, on the NDOT side of things, when elections change, we usually have to catch people up and, on projects that are going on and stuff, so, they understand how it works, and they've been really good to work with, and we're gonna meet them next month.
Okay. Along with that,
Did we submit the difference payment for
The actual invoice, when I contacted them, they said that was fine. I showed where we paid that, they told me that one was okay. Now, I think there's still a penalty out there that we owe, and I have not gotten an.
yeah, that's a separate issue.
There were two different
Yeah.
things, but the invoice, as far as I know, is covered when I
That's
talked to them,
Yeah, that's a separate issue.
but the other is not, so.
but where I was getting at with this transfer station, we've passed an ordinance changing the fees out there. We're still in that advertising cycle of tier 3 advertisements before we can have another hearing on that.
Well, I think it was, we have advertised it for a sufficient amount of time, for sure, no question at this point. The issue is mainly that, as Jennifer indicated, when we advertised it, I guess, they didn't notice the specific meeting that we were gonna have a public hearing
Okay.
at.
And that has been advertised.
It has, and I think Deb said it, I have
It's
not
in the
looked.
paper today,
So
and
we'll,
it's for June 7th.
okay, all right.
Again, you know, if anybody in the public is watching, you know, come to June 7th meeting, and you can speak for or against the proposed changes.
And there will be, as you're saying, public comments, so. All right.
I'd like to say something real quick on the
Okay.
transfer station, and talking to IDM. I wanna thank Greg for, Greg's kinda taking that under his wing, he made sure that's happened, and, there was a lot of work and a lot of hoops to jump through, and, I just wanna say, Greg, appreciate you doing that and taking your time out of your day to take care of that.
I'll echo that, cause it wasn't as easy as everybody thought it was gonna be. And actually, it probably was after you figured out what they were even asking for, so.
That's half of it, yeah.
So, but anyway, I appreciate you too, so, and Jennifer
Oh, boy, I
for
do.
calling her stuff. So, maybe, when that comes up again, I think that is a 4 or 5 year permit, isn't it? It only
I
comes
think
up-
so, the last time that
I
we
think it's a
submitted it
5.
was like 2017,
I think it's a 5-year permit, so, but yeah, we definitely don't wanna lose that, so, hate to think.
Maybe 2018.
So anyway, appreciate everybody's work on that, so hopefully that's behind us, so. Consideration of a FMLA,
And I didn't email that because I didn't feel comfortable doing it.
and while we're doing that, I'll take a consideration of the payroll for May 5th, so I have an opportunity to look at the payroll. I'll entertain a motion to accept the payroll for May 5th.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept the payroll for May 5th.
I'll say.
Greg, seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so. No, not much description there, but.
No, there's not.
Show that hand.
I think all those are.
They are, they're not. Jeez, stop. These are all the special.
Hey, Mike, when you stop by, Dairy Queen on the way home?
I guess,
On the milkshake.
I'm not against, you know, approving this, I just, there's not much description of what's going on, so. And, so, anyway, I'll entertain them.
I mean, I believe you can ask for,
I don't really want it, that's just, I've never seen one without more than
So brief.
what was here, so. I'll entertain a motion to approve the FMLA for this particular individual.
I'll make a motion to approve if he is eligible.
Okay, well, yeah, that's, needs to be held accountable too, so. Randy made a motion to approve a FMLA, Greg,
I'll say,
I'll make that unanimous, so. Is this a new form?
I don't know, I think that was turned into our office, so that might have been a form that was somewhere else in another
I think there's a
office.
page missing.
That's definitely not the same form, so. Consideration of the regular and special invoices.
We have 4 special invoices.
Oops, sorry. I got a question, cause I heard some, you know, a rumor or something, that the council was going to cut off a timeline for invoices to hit your books. Is that gonna create more of these special invoices? Or is that going to change any of that?
I don't know that it will, what they want is they want, by the last day of the month, they want all their information in, to my office. And then they want us to set up an agenda that Heather gave us, which is helpful, but it does take a lot of work. So I don't know that that would really cause any
No.
more special invoices.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Has this one been before council?
Yes,
What
yes.
fund is it?
It's coming out of, part is coming out of,
The opioid settlement?
the
that was
opioid
Well,
settlement.
it's not that, it actually, no, it is not
They're
going to that, it's
transferring
going,
money, they're
that
transferring
money
money.
that went to their paychecks, sorry.
Yeah, it's coming out of their payroll. They're
Oh,
moving
so the
money
money
around
that
in
came,
their
that went to
account.
half of
EMS,
it's coming out of lit and half of it's
It's
coming out of
theirs.
what was removed.
For the.
No, it was not removed,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
remained inside of that
It went into their training.
budget, it remained inside of that department's budget, but there was, that money was removed from the payroll section of the budget, and other money was moved into its place, if that makes sense, right? So it was moved into a contracting line item because the purpose was for the purchase of equipment. So I believe they did have, it was a full 50 split.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to pass it out. You guys.
That one. Looks like for election and,
Mhm.
looks like,
And your,
alright, looks like we have four different ones here. One of them is for, the Striker Flex Financial, and it's actually a cleanup of a issue we had a few years ago, and we're still cleaning up a mess, so. That's for $153,394.15, and then we had another one, looks like for a 911 phone system contract for $6480, $6,480. For Everbridge, that's that one. Then we have one for the May 2023 election for poll workers in the amount of $6,865.12. That's for the city elections.
We have a jury pay fund.
At the jury fund. Okay,
See on the end, on the
Yeah.
right hand side.
yeah. Alright, the other one's jury duty.
And then the last one here is for a jury duty for a trial. Actually, it looks like 2 trials. And the amount. Okay, that number don't look right.
2,000.
I'm not a quick mathematician, but I'm gonna tell you that that doesn't add up to $10,000. Cause at the bottom of this page, it says 2708. Up here it says 2708, but then this says 10,000. So, I mean, I don't understand that number.
By the election citizen.
Can you look at that and tell me, there's a difference, there's like 2 numbers there, like 27 something, then there's a $10,000. I'm just trying to figure out what's the second one. When we vote. You can't, I guess, I'm going to here in a minute, so. You see the back page where it says 2708 or something, that says 10,000 below that? What's the 10,000?
The election was 6,865.
Jury duty.
See, that and that equals this.
So you,
And this, and this equals that. All right? 3,000 plus 6,000 plus 1,000.
what's the 27 what?
Excuse, 270832,
Alright, hang on. See if I can add real quick.
Okay.
686512.
68.
That's
still
for the
not-
election.
Still
And
not
then-
enough.
And then 1,080.
1,080
Mm-hmm.
or 13, 16, that's 10,654.44.
653.44.
Alright. I just quickly, yep, that's it.
Okay,
So that's a combination, that's so
right,
we need to make sure we note that.
okay.
Alright, let's clean this up.
Thank you, Debbie.
Alright, we have an invoice here for, again, for the striker fund for $153,394.15. We have a voucher for Everbridge for a 911 phone system contract for $6,480. And then we have, I'm gonna put these separate, we have an election, 2023, city election of $6,865.12, and then for a jury duty, for a trial for $2,708.32. So I'll entertain a motion to pay those 4 bills.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion. Greg?
A second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so. Let you sign that too. A lot of ghosts in here tonight.
At least our ghost's clean.
They're clean ghosts. sign. Moving on, consideration of the regular minutes for March 1st, April 4th, April 26th, and May 3rd. Has everybody had an opportunity to see those?
And I don't think, there was a couple of them you did not get. The April 26th absolutely has to be, I know you've got it, and here's a paper copy if anybody needs it. We need to sign that for Kevin.
I'll entertain a motion to accept those 4 dates.
I make a motion to accept the minutes, it's finished.
Randy makes a motion to accept the minutes for March 1st, April 4th, April 26th, and May 3rd. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that on it, unanimous, so. Consideration of the joint, Board of Commissioners and the council minutes for February the 9th. I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion for those minutes of that joint meeting on February 9th. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds, I'll make that unanimous, so. All right, has anybody got anything else? I'm going to start to say something and maybe the.
Oh, man, you almost
My
done, you
attorney.
almost beat your time too.
I can't ever beat your time. Maybe our attorney will stop me before I get all the way through this, but, there has been some discussion I mean, everybody knows this about Empower and some retirement funding and stuff. It's came to our attention that, I don't know if by us just saying everything's working itself out, that it's gonna work itself out, or if with us having a State Board of Account auditor here this week and, talking to her, and she said that if we would file something with the state auditor, that she could oversee that investigation of making sure that it's been properly funded. And she said it'd probably only take a day for her to do that. So I guess everybody think about that, and Zach, I was gonna talk to you about that tonight as well, but I think that's the best way for us to clean that mess up, and for once and for all, everybody say, it's paid, it's done, or it's not, and here's what you owe. So, what's your guys' thoughts? I mean, she's here now, and she says, hey, if my supervisor says I can stay
We just need
completed.
to submit a written notification of what we.
That's right, and that's why I asked you to reach out to her, cause you have more knowledge about what they're exactly saying, so you guys all right with that?
I think it's the responsible thing to do.
So, and she said Jennifer, didn't she say it'd be a couple $100 for her if it's a day?
She didn't act like it would be a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so,
forget. I
she
don't
said
remember.
because it's not a federal thing.
Yeah, it's not federal.
It's a state thing, so it would not fall into the state funding rates, it would be, she said actually $100 and some a day, and she said, I don't see it taking more than a day. Once she knows what to go look for, she said, I can have it done in a day.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask for an amendment to the agenda to talk about this, so let's amend the agenda to say that we're going to take the State Board of Accounts audit of, would that be an Empower account?
Empower is just a current company that the county.
Can we just say retirement account?
Retirement sort of be,
So I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda first.
We
So,
used a different company for years, and Empower purchased that
Yeah.
company.
yeah,
And that's why now it's Empower, so it's being
mhm.
called Empower Issues. I just wanna make it clear,
it's not them.
Yeah, it's
Empower did
not,
not do anything, we're not saying that. It's-
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to talk about this that we already talked about.
Randy makes a motion to allow us to amend the agenda to add this to the agenda. Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds, I'll make that unanimous. So now I'll accept a motion to allow the State Board of Accounts auditor to audit the retirement fund to to make sure that it's correct.
I will make that motion.
Okay, Randy makes the motion, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make that unanimous, so Jennifer, if she's, I know she's still here, so.
Yeah,
And let her get a hold of Greg or, our attorney and, just give him her email or whatever.
Members and-
So, anyway, now, see if I got anything else.
Well, I just say thanks to you, Mike. Most people don't know these things outside of meetings, but, you know, I know you've been working with the health. That's what got me thinking about some of this is Cigna and the insurance wars between who's taking it at what hospital and things. And I know you've worked through a lot of that and pushed on those negotiations and making sure that our folks can continue to go to, you know, places such as not only Floyd, but
Across the
Yorkville
river.
and over on the other side of the river, yeah, so thank you for.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate that, actually, I was gonna bring that up, a lot of people didn't, you know, a lot of people received letters stating that our insurance with, Norton's was going to cease. And this is, and I'm talking with the CEO of Clark Memorial and Scott Memorial, they said that it didn't affect us going to their hospital, but once you cross the river, it did. So I reached out to the CEO of Norton's Healthcare in Louisville and, probably sent 10 emails back and forth for the last couple of weeks and then she sent me an email on Sunday saying that they agreed on, actually it's a Saturday, saying they agreed on Friday, which is the last business day before it expired, so. But then that might have been a little thing about their, the thing that hit the news, you know, Monday was that they'd been hacked, and shut their computer systems down, so you might know something about that. But anyway, anybody got anything else? So, alright, I'll entertain a motion to close.
I'll make that motion.
Were you waiting for it to minute to
No,
roll
I'm just
or
seeing
something?
I make
Randy
a
made a
motion to
motion
close
to-
it.
Randy made a motion to close the meeting, Greg,
I'll second.
Greg seconds, I'll make it unanimous, so kill the bird.
You done it?